Hello guys, it's me Mohammed Abdul Tariq and with the roll number 25001079. Correct. So today's session focuses on effective curriculum and in decision making, specifically how this assessment fits into the broader teaching learning cycle in early childhood. As highlighted in the early years learning framework version 2.0, assessment is integral to learning and development and it provides the foundation for curriculum decision making. So, moving on, let's explore what this means in practice and how it can enhance outcomes for young learners. To begin, let's revisit the EYLF version 2.0. So, Australia's National Curriculum Framework guiding early childhood. As its core, the EYLF sees children as capable, competent learners and it also promotes equity, cultural responsiveness, and continuous reflection. The framework is built around five key learning outcomes, which are identity, connectedness, well being, confidence in learning, communication, and these outcomes serve as essential benchmark for planning, assessing, and evaluating early childhood learning. Moving on to the next slide, we have so what is effective curriculum decision making actually? Like it's actually the ongoing process of planning and then implementing and then how we evaluate the learning. So and even the learning experiences. Most importantly, is rooted in children's strengths and interests. And it is also informed by the families and cultural context and is also driven by the continuous assessment of reflection. And the next question arises like, why is it critical or why does it matter? Because it supports inclusive learning and also like based on the responsive learning and it ensures alignment with the EYLF outcomes and it also allows for tailored support that enhances children's identity and their relationships and even their communication. So there are three primary approaches to this assessment in early childhood. So the first one is formative approach, and the second one is summative, and third one is diagnostic. We'll look into it like what is formative, summative, and the diagnostic, and how to do the value in early childhood education. So let's talk about the first one, which is formative. It's the most common, and it involves about in the daily observations and also about the learning stories and the documentation that guide responsive planning. So this is like how we can say that it is actually the format, like how we are going to explain this to explain like how are we going to teach the children. And then there is summative. It's based on evaluation, which is we get by learning over time through time, and also through like the portfolios and reports, which is like quite helpful in the communication progress. And then let's come to the last one, which is diagnostic. It actually identifies the specific developmental needs. And it also helps to initiate timely support and interventions. So uh, and like it's we can say that by the communication with leading to the families and educators we can get like more report on it and by in the diagnostic we have like there are like the tailor sports and in early intervention of the things and it also ensures that these things will be done and actually it's based on the better communication and then we can like diagnose it like how we are going to teach some kind of children so And as an educator, our role is like to first to observe and then to document and then to analyze like what's going on, and then we have to respond. Let's walk through the teaching learning cycle. So it consists of 5 parts. First one is like observing, then assessing, and then planning, and then implementing, and then the last, how does all these things reflect? So let's talk about the first one, observe. We are going to begin with observing. So we are actually observing children who are playing. So it actually helps us understand and like their interest and behavior. Like for example, if a child is playing with cars, so it means like he has interest in racing, sports, and in cars. And if there's a child who's playing with dolls, it means that she likes cute things, dolls like toys and beers. We can say, and then we need to assess, and we have to assess the what they know and what they can do. For example, if a kid is playing with a car and he is doing he's like having two cars and then one is going faster, it means that he is like racing, and we need to think about, okay, by this we can make a track for him, or maybe we can make something like give him something hard which in which we can he can race these things. And then after this we plan, like just as tell you, like after we assess these things then we plan, like, and like it happens with the learning experiences by observing and then assessing. Then we have to implement, like you cannot do anything if it's not implemented. So it's one of the most important part, we have to implement it. We implement this to like engaging and by the purposeful activities which might help the children. And at the last we reflect. Reflect means like we'll see the progress. So it's basically on like what we worked and what didn't. So for example, if a child is interested in water play, so it can lead to rich experiences in like sensory learning and even basic science exploration. And now it's about the EYLFV 2.0 outcomes and then the principles and the practices. So the EYLF isn't about outcomes only. It's also grounded in principles and practices. So outcomes are like we have to guide what we what to teach and what we teach. And then there's a principle which actually include like the secure relationship with the children and their parents and their carers, and then the strong family partnerships, which is very important. You have to give feedback about everything, and then you have to ask uh, parents about the progress, and they can ask you about the progress. And then where we are living in Australia, we have to respect our Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islander perspectives. And at the last, which is very important, equity. Equity and high expectations. We cannot leave a child with like, okay, you are not going to become nothing. No, we have to make his mind so that he has like high expectations. He can achieve more and more in the future life. And the last, there are practices. So practices include like the responsiveness, like how the things are going between both, and then intentional teaching. Okay, we are feeding something into the child's mind. That's intentional teaching. And then play-based learning, based on their interest, we think of something valuable for them to learn from it. And then the cultural competence, yes, we have to teach the children about the cultures, about Australian cultures, about their cultures, and how the world goes. And basically, the goal is to link all our activities directly to these elements. So, in order to ensure that the relevance and the depth is beyond. So, now, as we're living in Australia, and so in Australia, there are 7 standards of graduate teachers. And in the standard one and two, they should know that how they should know about the children, and they should know how they learn, and they should have the proper information of the content, and they should know how to teach it and how they will teach it. And then there's the standard three, uh, which is actually based on the planning and implementation of the teaching that is effective. And then there is standard four, they can create and they also maintain sportive and safe environment learning, which is very important. And then there's standard five, which is like we have to assess and provide feedbacks to the children or children and to the parents, to the carers, and on the base of the learning of the students. And then there is a standard six, we have to engage in professional learning. And in the seventh one, they also have to engage professionally with the fellow colleagues and the parents, the carers, and the community standards. So these are the seven standards of the graduate teachers in Australia. Moving on to the next slide, we have the assessment and feedback in practice. So we have like assessment tools by how we can assess children and their learning. On the first, it is very important observation. You have to observe how the children behavior and how the children is performing in things. And then we have digital portfolios, which might say that at this point the child learning was here and now it's here, and it should be here somewhere. And then we can like make any decision on if the child is going rapidly or is going slow or is not learning anything. It can be done through digital portfolios. And then we have learning stories, and then anecdotal records, and especially with the conversation with the families, like families can tell better as they spend more time with the children. And so and after these we can provide this feedback. Feedback can be provided to the families and to the other co-educators and even to the children. It's important to tell children that you are doing good, you need to work more, and actually, the best decisions arise from deep knowledge and constant reflection. By staying like responsive to the children, evolving interests and needs, we can co-create engaging and meaningful learning experiences, which is quite crucial in early childhood for the growth of the children. And these are the references I have used and made, and that's all. Thank you so much.